to write the rulebook for Kaki Lima, I have to say this is the most difficult thing to do in the whole process of designing a board game, is to come up with a rulebook, what to put inside, so that people can see how to set up the game, how to play the game, also to acknowledge the different people who helped in the development of the game, and having a reference at the back, so that it's easy to go to. So yeah, again, designing a rulebook is the most difficult thing, at least for me. Before that, I had to look at lots of different other rulebooks, how the information, how the gameplay, how everything gets put and laid out in a sheet or a booklet like this. So in the process, I'm not sure whether I did very well in this first game, but I'm constantly looking at and learning from other rulebooks. So one of the things I wanted to do for this series of videos is to run through rulebooks and learn from how things are laid out, whether or not I can understand how to play a game from just going through or running through the information or the pages of a rulebook. So this is the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to feature a Malaysian design game which is called Vagrant Dash. So the reason why I wanted the Vagrant Dash rulebook to be the first rulebook run-through that I filmed for this series was because when I got the game Vagrant Dash by Hwa Siang, I did not have the opportunity to learn the game through the designer, or neither were there any videos about how to play the game. So I had to basically pick up the game rulebook and learn how to play, and I thought it was really well designed. I wanted to share that Hwa Siang had some experience doing play guides, and wanted to bring that up before we actually run through the Vagrant Dash rulebook. When Kleptopoly first came out, the rulebook looked like this: The Constitution of Kleptopoly, which is a guide on how to play Kleptopoly by c4center.org, and it's basically Monopoly rethemed into talking about the 1MDB scandal in Malaysia. Most people know how to play Kleptopoly, but the rulebook, which was kind of interesting that in theme, it was kind of cool. It's written to look like a constitution, but I can't say that I really read through all the things. The only graphics that it had was pictures of the game components, which was cool, but it was really difficult to I'm just gonna play like Monopoly. But then Hwa Siang, who was the production designer, went the extra mile and came out with a play guide, a very visual play guide. He's got a cool objective there, what you are playing, and it was really clear. He puts out how to set up the game, how to win, how to move, the space descriptions of every property card, and it was really nicely laid out graphically, and it was easy to learn how to play the game compared to the Constitution of Kleptopoly. So, and later on he even had cards, special ability cards for all the different pawns that you can play: Shopping Mama, Mr. Klepto, Arab Donor, MO1, what you can do if you rolled a double. So I wanted to point that out because Hwa Siang has been really good about coming up with his rule books. So back to Vagrant Dash. Vagrant Dash is a game for 2 players, ages 10 and above, and each game will take about 15 to 30 minutes, which is really cool. This is Hwa Siang's game studio, Hard Knocks Creatives. So when I look at a rulebook, other than flipping it back and forth like I'm doing now, it's good to just flip through first. Okay, we've got an introduction, setting up the game, how to play the game, what are the different things that you need to do, how to move, how to scout and explore the map, how to attack. Then it goes through ability cards, and there's like a reference guide here about the different units that you move. There's also another reference page about the different maps and their effects on the units. So the goal of this series is like going through a rulebook and seeing how we can set up and how easy it is to learn the game through that. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, the first folded page is like a backstory about the different characters in the game. Here it shows that there are two factions, the Tri-Fighters and the Ozone. In the introduction, it tells you an overview of what the game is about. So it's a tradition between space vagrants on planet Sikara, where disputes are settled with a dash. In this case, two vagrant factions are fighting over the claim to 3 derelict cities left by ancient civilization. A dash usually takes or lasts for only 20 minutes, 20 rounds in the game, as resources are scarce. The vagrants agreed that any conflict that dragged on would diminish the survival chances of the human race. So here are two ways to win a dash, winning conditions. One is that when the enemy commander is taken out, and you will get instant victory. The second winning condition is if your units stand on most of the city tiles at the end of 20 rounds in the game. So there's a asterisk here. The game is a tie if both players have equal amount of cities. Just play the game again to see who wins. Okay, so and then we're going to go into setting up games. So one of the important things of a rule book is that it shows how to set up game. This doesn't seem to be a list of components though, so but I've kind of moved them out here. Let's figure out how to set up the game. So one, this is also a good thing where you see a text of what to do, and then you see a visual reference of how it would look like. Okay, so place units according to the icons on the starting base. Then we'll shuffle, put all cards here according to color. Then, okay, let's do that. So these are the blues and the reds, and over here you have on the board there is the different icons on the board that show you which unit that you need to place on each. There's also a quick guide of the unit type, how each will move, and how they can attack, and what are the features of each unit, which is really handy to have on the board itself, as well as in the rulebook. I think it was here. Yeah, so it was here. It's a bit more detailed, but it's cool that you have it like in summary here as well. Okay, we're gonna place the units according to the icons. So these are the helicopters, looks like it's there. And then there's a commander unit, and they kind of look a little bit like I'm not sure what you call this, the missile launchers. So the difference is that the missile launchers do not have this little extension on the top. So yes, this is the commander. So let's put it there. Then missile launchers. Looks like they are tanks. So there are 2 tanks here. And then over here are the scouts. So 5 scouts. Cool. The ozone scout has a little wheel at the back. Cool. So this is the premium set when he hand-made all the miniatures himself, and for the premium version, they also got a paint job as well. Cool. Okay, and now for the red faction, which is called the Tri-Fighters. So here are the aircraft. Here's the commander spot, the missile launchers, and they go here. Then next are the 2 tanks, and then the scouts. So let's see, 5 scouts. And these are a little bit different from the ozone scouts. The next thing we're going to do is to shuffle, put all the cards according to color. So it looks like, well, it's very clear. This is the where you're going to put the card deck, and for red. So shuffle it a little bit first. Okay, and then blue deck. Alright, next is after you shuffle the cards, each player draws 5 cards and pick 3 cards and put the rest at the bottom of the deck. Okay, so you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then I guess pick whatever you think you want. Yeah. Pick 3 and then put to the bottom. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then let's pick for the blue team, the ozone team. I'm just going to pick the first 3. Okay, let's just say we have all these cards here. Alright, let's put this here. Okay, so shuffle all the tiles into the tile bag, and each player draws 6 tiles and arrange them on the first row in front of their starting base. There's a tile bag here, and then I've already put all the tiles in there, so maybe we'll just shuffle them around, and then we will take out 6 on this side. I guess once you know how to play, then there should be a strategy of which tile you would want to put in which position, but for now we're just gonna run through how to set up. So those are the starting tiles, and then what's next? Number 4, place the round counter starting at 1. Okay, so here's this nice silver round counter. Here is the round track, and then so I guess we are going to put this at round 1. Okay, right here. Okay, so we've set up. Now it's very easy. Next is to figure out how to play. Here is player actions and player turn format. Every round, each player has 2 actions to take. Choose 1 unit to move or attack, and then there's an optional action. Use 1 card before or after the unit actions. So these are the cards that are available to the red faction or the tri-fighters. Okay, so it's kind of cool. So you read it in text, and then yes, put an example of how to play out the turn. So red player's turn, 1 unit plus 1 card. Move or attack. It says red always goes first. So okay, so red goes first, and then blue player's turn. You will have 1 unit move and 1 card that you could play. And then after rounds complete, the round counter is moved as follows. Red player moves the round counter up by 1 space. Okay, at the end of each round, the game will end at round 20. Okay, so looks like on almost every page he has this little box that has tips to play. So consider using card before or after you take your action unit. So tip 1, use the force intel card to move an enemy unit into your firing path before using your unit to attack it. And then another tip is use reinforcement cards to call back units after you move the commander unit. Okay. Well, so there's many different tips at the bottom of the page. I'm guessing corresponding to the gameplay item that's above it on the page. Then it talks about how you move. So each round you can command 1 unit to move. How far they can move depends on their movement stat. Okay, so just now I think I saw the unit stat table. So looks like it's very detailed in how you would move the scouts, the map exploration. Okay, so because this is all blank, okay, and which means it's unknown terrain, and says that, so the map starts out with a large empty space in the middle, and these are blank unknown spaces, and no unit can move into unknown spaces. Therefore, the scout unit is really important or required to explore and fill the map with map tiles to facilitate movement of units. So example of using scouts, a scout will reveal this tile around it. Okay, so let's say a scout moves, so let's use the unit statistics table. The scout can move up to 3 tiles in any direction, and the special feature is that it can fill in map tiles, okay, which only the scout can do. So let's say it moves over here, and that means what does that mean? Okay, so once it moves here, all the tiles around it will become known. Okay, so I've moved here, and therefore I'm going to open up 2 more tiles, and so on and so forth. And I guess that's how the terrain kind of fills in or fills out. Okay, so that's scout and map exploration. And then next we learn about attacking. So to improve your odds of winning the game, you can remove enemy units by attacking with your own units. You can attack when these requirements are met. It is your turn to take action, and the enemy is within your unit attacking range. And we can refer to attack types on the right, I guess here. And there are no obstacles in the attacking path. Refer to obstacles below. So there's a nice the box that shows what the obstacles would be, what situations would be in. So that will prevent you from attacking. That's quite cool. That's quite clear. So there are 3 attack types. One is used by the scout and the aircraft, where you move in and remove the enemy. Okay, so I guess the plane and the scout will be able to, I mean, if the enemy is near, maybe we should fill in the terrain a little bit more, just so we have an example, assuming that scouts on both sides have like scouted. Yeah, again, just to facilitate an example. All right, so again, if let's say this was here, I don't know, here maybe, and then maybe the scout is there, and you could move in and remove the enemy. Okay, so technically the helicopter or the aircraft could fly in and remove the enemy. Okay, and then so that's how scouts and aircraft would attack. And then how about tanks? Tanks can shoot up to 3 tiles away. This is the shooting attack. The tank can attack enemies which are 3 tiles away while remaining stationary. So let's say let's use this example first. Okay, so let's say the tank is here, and then it would be able to shoot at this scout, boom, and this would come out. Okay, and then the third attack type would be unlimited shooting range, but only in a straight line. Okay, so straight line. Wow. Does that mean the tank can shoot in an unstraight line? Shooting is not movement, so it will shoot through rough and water tiles. Okay, we haven't really gone through what the kind of tiles yet, but let's just come back to that later. So the missile launcher can shoot as far as it wants, but it must shoot in a straight line according to the edges of the hexagon, so that's quite clear enough. Like the tank, it can shoot through rough and water tiles, but blocked by mountain and unknown tiles. Okay, so I guess if you're a missile launcher, you wouldn't be able to, I don't know, I guess if this person is here, you wouldn't be able to shoot through the mountain, but and you also won't be able to shoot over blank terrain, like, you know, well, I mean, if let's say this aircraft was here, let's put this here. Okay, but I guess if it were filled up, then possibly the missile launcher could hit the red aircraft here, but because there's a unknown tile here, it can't shoot there. Okay, then about the ability cards. Cards can be played to surprise your opponent. Only one card be played every round. Okay, so I guess, you know, if we were to get into the game, you can, if you use this card, move an enemy unit tile in any direction of your choice. That's kind of cool. So I guess, you know, you could play this card, and then before or after you move your actions. Okay, and then what happens when you use the card? All used cards are put into a discard pile facing up beside the game board. Okay, I guess once you use the card, you could place it to the side. Here's a tip: conserve your cards and securing cities. Okay, tip 1: don't waste all your cards early in the game. Conserve some cards, such as shield, until the climax of the game. Okay, cities give you cards. Secure at least a city as soon as possible and get access to more cards. But please be reminded that you can only have maximum of 3 cards in your hand at all times. Okay, how to draw a card? Draw a card when your unit enters and ends its turn on any city tile. So I guess, you know, if the 3 city tiles are there, so I guess if, let's say, the aircraft comes here and boom, you get to draw a card. Draw another action card and put it into your hand. You do not draw another card until you move the unit and then re-enter the city tile and its turn again on the city tile, and end its turn again on the city tile. So okay, so you have to come out and go in, then you get to draw a card. Alright, so max 3 cards in hand, and then you have the unit stats table, which I think is really handy to refer to, especially if maybe you're not used to what the icons mean first, but although it's quite straightforward, I think, on the board, but if you want to have a bit more detailed reference, you can go to page 9 in the rulebook. Alright, and then here on page 10 you have map tiles and their effects on unit action. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different terrain. Blank, we've gone through blank. Units can't move across unless you're an aircraft. It blocks shooting, and you're supposed to use the scout to fill it with map tiles. Okay, and then plains, all units can move into it. The rough terrain, all units can move to it, but you stop once you move into that tile, into the rough tile. All non-flying units end their turn. So I guess if you're an aircraft, you can still move on within your 4 tile movement line. And then there's water. So all these, the tanks and the missile launchers, cannot go into this tile. And then these are mountain tiles. Only aircraft can move into this tile. Other units cannot move into this tile, and it blocks shooting, just like the blanks. And then there's the city tiles. All units can move into it, and you can draw a card if your unit ends its turn on this tile, and move up and re-enter next turn to draw again. So there's a red box there which says important: you do not draw cards if your unit remains on the city in the subsequent rounds. You must move the unit out and out of and re-enter the city to draw an account. Okay, so this basically set in a different way. And tile types are indicated by the color of their borders, such as red for mountain tiles. The graphic representations are just aesthetic only and does not affect gameplay. Okay, so I didn't notice that, but yeah, on the side, on the border of each tile, is a different color. So plain is a light brown, rough is a darker brown, blue, water is a blue. And what other tiles do we have? Mountain, let's see, this mountain, and mountain is red. Okay, so since I'm at the mountain miniatures, there's another special miniature that you get with the premium version, which is let's see, it's called a destructor tank. It came with a card that says thank you for supporting Vagrant Dash, and looks like the destructor tank can be hidden in the city ruin, and it moves 2 tiles in any direction. It shoots 3 tiles away. Okay, this unit cannot move and shoot at the same time. When moving, destructor tank does not move twice per turn. How to use the destructor tank? Occupy 2 or more cities for 3 turns. Wow. Okay, at the end of your 3rd turn, place destructor tank 1 tile beside a city that you occupy. So I guess it will go, let's say maybe these 2 red units have been there for 3 consecutive turns, and then at the end they get a destructor tile that can be placed next to one of those cities, either here, 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 or here. Okay, so and then how you use your mountain tokens, which is basically when you open up a mountain tile, you can use a mountain token and place it on top of that mountain tile, just for a more 3D effect, I guess. Yeah, so that's how you would use the special miniatures that came with the premium version, and that's pretty much the rulebook. So yeah, after running through the Vagrant Dash rulebook, I think it's easy enough to pick up, with lots of reference guides that I really like. How visually it just makes you want to go through the book. Altogether, he has 12 pages. Well, I guess 10 pages with 10 pages, not counting back and front cover. So that's Vagrant Dash.